All right, man, we're live now. Stop fiddling with whatever you're fiddling with there.
What did you think I was fiddling with? You can't see my
I don't know.
hands. Are you making an assumption here?
No, I don't know. You were doing something. So, hey, I'm not in my office, and I'm not in our office.
I am.
I'm actually at a live conference. I'm even wearing my conference wear with our shirt and a badge and everything. It's very exciting. And you're going to be here later.
Yeah, not wearing our swag, which I actually. So I have the trademark mask. So
good.
But I did bring a KN95 because that cloth mask isn't going to do anything.
Yeah. Nope. So we're at the Seattle Cybersecurity Conference, but that's not why that's not what we're going to talk about here. Mike and I thought about canceling, but there's just too much going on in the world, and this is just too important. So quick things to know. We did a panel on Tuesday about the events in Ukraine and how that may land on our doorstep. We had 909 people. And then it's now on YouTube. You can go to our YouTube channel to watch it, but it has there are two separate videos. I think we're over 1,000 views on just that now. So please watch it. In fact, one of the folks who came up to me at the conference today was like, "Hey, you're the guy from that thing I went to the other day. That was really helpful." And they said that helped them talk to their bosses about their security posture. So. If you want to watch it, it's there. I thought the comments were great. Mike, any takeaways from that you want to share?
Well, first I'll say that the executive brief that we did, I think, was super useful as a giveaway because people are trying to explain this to executives, and I think that was a nice service for us to have done. But the takeaway is, cybercrime is going to go way up as a result of the sanctions, right? I mean, this is absolutely not hard to predict.
Right.
Russia is going to have to make up for lost revenue. What better way to do that than to steal it from us, right? Steal it from the country that sanctioned you. So, although events on the ground are awful weird, and this whole thing could come to an end quickly, I don't know if that means the sanctions are going to go away. Anyway,
no,
because
I wouldn't think so.
No, I don't think so either, right? So if the sanctions stay in place, that means the crime is going to go up. So everybody needs to radar up and do whatever you can to get to 24/7 monitoring. Have a response plan, practice it, make sure you're ready to take a punch and get up off the mat.
Yeah, and Mike mentioned the thing that we created, that executive brief. If anybody needs a copy of that, it's a Word document, so you can change it for your org. Just email me, jake@criticalinsight.com, and I'll kick it over to you. It's hard to put a link in because it's a download link, and anyway, we're on like 3 platforms here. Hey, Mike, one other thing that I just got from our CTO, also named Mike. But so this just in, because one of the things that's been happening is there have been a lot of leaks from ransomware gangs because people in Ukraine angry, so CI researchers have been able to isolate some of the unique characteristics of malware operated by Russia and Russian allies based on those leaked conversations among teams collaborating on writing the malware. And so our team is deploying signatures, which will allow our SOC to identify early stages of such infections that for any reason, have bypassed our customers' endpoint controls. So, if
that's good.
So if affected systems can be, quickly quarantined and managed, so far, luckily, there aren't a lot of reports about the Russian cyber attacks affecting systems outside of Ukraine. But based on the history of this, as we said in the panel, we think that's going to come, and so we're
it's already ticking up.
And we're working with our customers and making sure that we're using all of anything that's out there to so that our SOC is the most effective against this. In fact, I just talked to a partner yesterday who said that one of the endpoint companies was not effective against this. And so they asked us questions about whether we could be, and I was excited to tell them about this. So that's some big news from our great adversary replication team. And Mike, you did an interview yesterday with Financial Times.
I did.
It should be coming out today.
Politico too.
Yeah. That was a different thing, though. The topic was activism and what's going on with volunteer hacking for a cause, right?
Yeah. You and I have right here have predicted that this was going to become a more pronounced signal, right? Activism, volunteers, whatever you want to call it. I think it's interesting that they're helping to expose the truth to the Russian people, as activists. That's a great thing to do. Halting trains that carry Russian soldiers across Belarus. Okay, that's a great story. But when everyone feels empowered to get into the fight, it becomes, more likely that someone does something that results in unintended consequences. And that could be considered firing the first shot, right? And so we do not want to invite retaliation from that. So activism is good. There are ways to do this, and there are ways to not do it. And there's a couple of examples that almost went south already.
Yeah, I mean, it all gives me, it all gives me a lot of heartburn. I also read that Anonymous has hacked about 300 Russian targets, including a gas control system.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I mean, a human controller prevented that system from overpressuring and blowing up, but we might be having a much different conversation now if something bad had happened. And I have to say, I was in a conversation yesterday with our friend John Rigi at the American Hospital Association. And, vigilante justice is a double-edged sword.
Yep.
But, I know there's more Russia stuff you want to get to. So let's table that, get to other news.
Yeah.
What do you got?
So a lot of warnings still, but I'm not seeing things other than what we talked about last week, right? I mean, everybody's talking about, there's a couple of things that have happened that really do suggest that this is taken up, right? So like banks have said that phishing, Russian-based phishing has gone up by a factor of 8. Okay, well, there's a signal, and large banks are saying that they see the signal going up as well. Still nothing. We haven't lost our energy grid. We haven't lost water supply, things like that. Surgical cyber strikes that hit targets that have an outsized impact on the U.S. economy. That's what I think we're going to be looking at more than just broadly trying to whack the energy grid or something, right? So, expediters, right? To further snarl the supply chain, right? The fuel storage company in Germany to make it harder to compensate for the loss of the Nord Stream 2 pipeline. And in fact, I will add Bridgestone to that list. You can call that supply chain, transportation sector, manufacturing, whatever you want. But Bridgestone is still down after days and has closed plants all over North America. See, outsized impact.
Yeah, and I mean, I saw the Bridgestone story in the blast, but hadn't thought of it that way. One attack puts a lot of people out of work.
Yep.
I also read in the blast that there are some satellite internet companies been hit, which disrupts Ukrainian communication. But also, remote access to a network of 6,000 wind turbines. They're still operating, but now they can only be accessed physically, which that doesn't scale well. Looks like a twofer to me, communications and energy both disrupted, to your point.
Toyota in Japan too, since we're talking about tires, let's talk about cars. And there will be more. But other interesting stories this week. So, that the Conti ransomware gang, after pledging to support the Russian government and attack assets in countries that are sanctioning, just had their source code and all their internal chats disclosed, presumably by someone, we'll say, not aligned with Russian imperialism. Here's another place where we got a little too close. Anonymous apparently got into Roscosmos, the Russian space agency, which prompted a warning from Russian military that messing with satellites is an act of war. That's what I'm talking about. Volunteers getting into the act and creating unintended consequences, right? Well, there's one right there. Here's a thing that happened this week too. NVIDIA was hacked, and what the actor wants is for NVIDIA to remove the CPU cap on crypto mining. Right? This is weird, which should tell us all something about the threat of malware deploying crypto miners, and why that's gone from an irritation or annoyance to a problem now.
Yep, for sure. So I actually need to put my mask on here because all of a sudden somebody, I guess, one of the speaking things got out, and there are a ton of people walking by me, and I used to just be in the start corner here. So,
They're giving you the side eye.
Well, they should be, but I'm not looking up because I'm looking at you.
Okay.
So Mike, while I put this mask on, you want to talk about? I think you want to talk about banks, right?
Well, yeah, that factoid I mentioned where Russian-based phishing attacks going up by a factor of 8, and they're specifically coming for banks, which is not surprising because we're talking about trying to make up money because of sanctions. But big banks, they're reporting this subtle increase in probing and other activity, and it's the big banks, okay? It's the Chases, it's the B of A's. The financial sector is highly engaged. And, the financial ISAC, Information Sharing and Analysis Center, does a good job moving information around. So everyone knows that it's coming, and it's kind of like waiting for the shelling to start.
No,
Kind of a bad analogy, isn't
no.
Yeah.
We're not gonna use war analogies today.
Okay, all right, fair enough. But it's weird waiting, thinking that something's going to happen.
Yeah, for sure. And by the way, somebody did come over and give me the side eye, which is why I had to look over there and see. Now I have my mask on. This used to just be an empty hall, and now it's not. So Mike, other news. What's the new denial of service technique people are talking about?
Oh yeah, the amplification technique. It uses something called middle boxes, which are usually deployed by countries like China to censor or block content. And what they do is they don't respect the TCP standard of a 3-way handshake. Okay, which means that the final ACK, right? It's ACK, SYN, ACK. Okay, that's the way it goes. The final ACK can come from anywhere. So Akamai says that these servers are now being used to deliver crippling amounts of data, right, as a distributed denial of service, and use that as an extortion tactic. So the number I read is that they exceed the amount of data that can be delivered by DNS amplification, which is another, technique to get more out of it, by a factor of 60, almost 60. Wow.
I mean, if that becomes a dominant extortion technique, maybe we won't have so many hospitals going offline with ransomware. Wouldn't that be great?
That would be great. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, all right. Hey, let's get to threats and vulns, and then
I knew you were going to say that.
Get back to this conference here. Although it seems like a session is starting, so soon I'll be able to take my mask off again because I'll be back into an empty hallway.
Well, I'm going to be coming over there to actually talk in a while.
Yeah, people want to hear more from you than from me. It's very strange.
I think it's strange too. Yeah. All right. Look, quick rundown of what to watch for and what to patch. First, watch out for Russian cybercrime. Okay, there's that. WhatsApp and a bunch of other apps need to be patched urgently. They're saying there's an open source communication library called PJSIP, right? SIP. It's right, communication library, so SIP. Session initiation protocol. That's what that is. Other affected products besides WhatsApp are like Asterisk, which is a Linux-based VoIP software phone switch that's already used for all kinds of illegal robocalling and other junk. I'll re-mention that new DDoS technique. The threat of extortion from DDoS is up. The increasing use of wipers, right? Malware that just destroys a network. If you're in a critical sector, this might be something that, you have to endure soon. And I hope that is not true. Iranian actors are showing up with increasing frequency in this group called Muddy Water. And we've already seen them attempt to hit a customer, going after telecom, oil and gas, and some other critical sectors. This was actually a local government where we saw them hit. Microsoft Exchange servers are being hacked to deploy what's called Cuba ransomware. So if you didn't get the last 17 memos about patching Exchange, now is your final chance to dodge that bullet. Oh yeah, speaking of Microsoft App Store has been distributing a backdoor called Electron Bot, which can completely compromise a machine. So Microsoft, clean up your store. Fake DocuSign messages are being used to steal Microsoft login credentials through simple phishing. because, as you know, there's no firewall for stupid. I think that's enough threats and vulns.
You do love that phrase, don't you?
I do.
Yeah. Hey, we're almost out of time here. And having read the blast a week, I know there are some good candidates for the kicker. The kicker is the part in the end where, you know, you make everybody laugh. You can't see me laugh because I'm wearing a mask. But what do you got?
I mean, yeah, it was a tough choice. Mostly because there's this excellent monkey wrenching going on, you know, all over. I like the one about Russia threatening to block Wikipedia for stating facts about war casualties. So Wikipedia is not responding, and good for them. I also like the one about Anonymous taking over the marine location system, making it look like Putin's yacht had run aground on Snake Island, which is where the famous phrase was uttered in the direction of the Russian warship. And they also changed the call sign of his yacht to something also very disparaging that I can't say here. Disparaging of Mr. Putin. But I think my favorite one of the week is the takedown of the electric vehicle charging stations in Russia, because they use a component manufactured in Ukraine that happen to have a back door. So not only are the charging stations offline, they also display a message that is disparaging to Mr. Putin. So you can Google for the story and find the phrase that pays. I can't say it here.
Oh, so we've gotten. I can't believe you got phrase that pays into this. Oh my gosh. Oh man. All right. So folks, if you happen to be watching this today on a Friday and you happen to be in the Seattle area, come down and watch Mike speak this afternoon. I'll get you in if you don't already have a
conference is free.
I think. Oh, is it? Can anybody walk in? Anyway,
yeah,
I'll make sure.
I think so. Yeah.
Just email me, jake@criticalinsight.com. We're down at the Sheraton downtown, and as you can see, it's a great lot of fun. You can see the hotel wall behind me. That's how you know it's a lot of fun. All right, Mike. I'll see you down here in a little bit.
Okay.
Thanks for all the updates on Russia, and I'll see you soon.
Okay. Adios.
Right, bye, everybody.